Hey gang, so last time I talked about the Metal Toys DZ Deep Fried Dough Stick, TopD. God, it's a long name. I was driving around in a car, and of course, it's always a little dangerous driving around talking about stuff and showing things at the same time. So I thought I should actually do kind of a proper breakdown of it. It's funny, I was going to do this a few weeks ago, and then I was talking to a friend of mine, Osman Salmanov, over at Daily Dose of Fidgets, and he had actually had one scheduled for release on the day I was going to record my breakdown. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to wait, let him do his, I'll do mine. And in fact, you know what, I'm going to post his. So here, hopefully if this works, here's a link to his. If not, just go check it out. And you can kind of compare both the breakdowns and see, I'm sure we both have some stuff that the other person maybe missed. So anyways, we're going to have a look. We're going to open it up. We're going to play with it a little bit. I'm going to tell you why I still think this is one of my favorite fidgets. This is not the new one. This is one of the originals. So the new one does have that really cool kind of rotation to it. This one doesn't, but we'll take a look at it anyways. It's still awesome. It's great. Let's go. Okay, here we go. So, the deep fried dough sticks, which, I mean, I guess they're sticks because there are two, like it splits into two sticks? Not sure, but, I mean, clearly it's a conversation starter, or killer, if you're trying to explain it to your wife. And she just gets up and walks away. I'm so lonely. Okay, so the thing about the deep fried dough sticks is that they're it's kind of intimidating when you first get it in terms of even thinking about opening it up. You know, it's this zipper fidget. It's really cool. It's got this neat kind of movement to it. And you look inside, you kind of open it up and you look and you go, oh crap, what am I getting into if I open this up? But it's actually super simple once you get over the fear, because a lot of these things are intimidating. Every time I get one, I want to open it up. I want to see what makes it tick, but then I'm also kind of worried about what I'm going to do to it if I open it up. So we're going to open it up anyways. All right. So here's the deal. There are two sides, right? One side, you have to take one plate off if you want to separate the two sticks. Not sure why you would need to do that, but if it's just something you want to do. And the other side, so that would be this side. You have to take off the text plate if you want to physically separate the two pieces. You take off the frowny face plate if you want to take out the balls. Now there's two ways. I mean, it's easy enough. You can just kind of look at it and go, oh, look, there are the balls. But also, I know, sometimes people get confused. I get confused all the time. So what you can also do is just remember that the frowny faces look like balls. So you go, oh, that's the side that has the two balls in it. Okay? And I know, lots of balls jokes. Nah, but not today, my friends. So we have two sides to open up. Let's look first at the maintenance side, we'll call it. This is where you can kind of take the two balls out, flip the springs around, and make it a bit of a harder click, so you have a little bit more haptic feedback to it, or you can kind of soften it up because the springs are special springs. So to do this, I'm going to bring in a couple of pieces here, and actually let's zoom out. Yoink. All right, so we have the Tinker tray we all know and love. It just works. It's cheap, like good quality, inexpensive, and it's kind of perfect for working with fidgets. The next thing I'm going to need is some kind of tweezer, just so I can get the springs out. I love these plastic guys, because anything magnetized will not stick to them. And there's a whole set. And lastly, I need my tool. And I would like to introduce you to my new bit driver. That's right, I am using the Musketeer from now on as my bit driver. This is the only functional fidget I own. So it's fun, it spins, it does all that cool stuff. But I also went out and I bought, because this is a standard bit, and a lot of these A lot of these kind of little torque bits come in the mini size. I got an adapter. Now I know I can find longer, T6 and T8 screws that actually have a bit of length to them, but I couldn't find any in my local stores, so I just ended up going with the adapter. It's magnetic. You can just pop that on. It's simple. And why would I need an extender, do you ask? Well, with the extender, I don't have to worry about clicking this forward and then locking it into whichever direction I'm going to be using it. So instead, I just keep it down, put my little extender on it, and there you go. I can also actually just use it straight in, and it's actually not bad. And I'll probably do that today just so that my hands aren't sort of falling out of frame. But yeah, this is now my bit driver, because why not? I've got maybe one of the sexiest bit drivers out there, and I know there are a ton, but come on, they don't look like this. So why not use it, you know? That way I'm not going to get bored of my fidget either. So this is my new driver. Okay, so let's look at taking this apart. Two sides, right? Two plates, this plate, that plate, 4 screws, really, in the first stage. So we want to take off the spring and balls. We want to kind of work with them a bit. So there's a couple things you can do. One, you could just slide open up, or get it to a point where you can rotate, and then you can actually open both of them up at the same time, or at least you can access them both. I actually find this a bit easier because then this plate doesn't get in the way. Now, what's important here is that when you are opening this up, keep pressing down. Press down at all times, because you have spring-loaded balls in there that are, could travel if you're not paying attention, if you don't have one of these super awesome trays. Okay, so I'm holding this down. Now it's not going to like boom, like explode, fire off, but you just want to make sure you have it in the right direction. All right, I'm going to zoom in. Here we go. Okay. So with the plate off, you can see that we have springs, and underneath those springs are the balls, which we see right here. So first thing to do is pull the springs out. Okay, I'm gonna pull that spring out. Pull that spring out. And then you have just the 2 balls. And that's it. The balls are sitting there first. The springs go on top of the balls, and then the plate goes on top of the springs, and that's what pushes it forward. Now, of course, without the balls in there, there's no clicking. I mean, you could still play with it if you want. You could actually, you could take this plate, put it back on, and if you want, it's just a super kind of quiet slider. The only thing is it catches a bit because it's not really meant to be plate on plate directly. So I wouldn't recommend it, but, people do crazy things. Okay, so we have the balls. Now, the important part, especially when replacing your springs, if this is something you have to do, because I believe this comes with an extra set of balls and springs, is, where's the camera? Okay. You see how that's kind of like a little pyramid or a cone? It's like a little ice cream cone. So what happens is, the way the springs, the direction of the springs, if you put the ball on the bigger part of the cone, then they actually sink into the spring a little bit. See that? It kind of rests in the spring, so there's a little less pressure when it's pushed out. But if you put it on, we'll call it the tip of the cone instead, then the ball can't recess at all, and it's just sitting almost flat right against that spring. So then that causes it to push harder against the track. Okay? So we can do that. Let's put the balls back in. Now also, if you're looking for replacements on these, this is an excuse to use this super cheap little guy here that I got from Amazon. I think it's about 0.15, or actually, there we go, 0.19 inches, or in millimeters, 5. So these are like a 5 millimeter ball, I think. Yeah, we're gonna go with 5. 4.8. It's 5. Come on. So these are 5mm balls. It's honestly just an excuse to use that stupid thing after I bought it. Okay, so balls go in. Springs. We're gonna put the We're gonna put the narrow tip. We'll call it like the top of the pyramid or the cone. Actually, if it's a cone, if it's an ice cream cone, it's the bottom. If it's a pyramid, it's the top. So whatever. The smallest part of the spring. We're gonna put the smallest part of the spring facing the balls. That way the balls can't sink into the springs at all. They're forced forward. And then we'll put our little plate on and then open it up. Okay, got the other screw. All right, so now we have both balls in here sitting on, we'll call it the stronger feedback setting for the springs. It's nice. Okay, and then let's look at the other side and let's figure out how this thing actually moves around. So now we want to open up the deep fried dough sticks side, the word side, and that's going to let us access this little pivot post that keeps everything together. Now this one, there are no springs, so you can be a little bit more cavalier, I guess, with these. Okay, and then let's get our top off. So here's the top plate off. And you can see in here, we're sliding against this pin. Now the trick with this pin, you'll see there's an opening here. And the opening is what lets you slide around, right? It kind of like slides within this groove. And now the question is, well, why can't I turn it when it's in the middle of the groove? I'm glad you asked, and we're going to open it up to find out. Let's get our screws out of the way. These are all T8, by the way. So every one of these screws is a T8 screw. All right. Now that I have this little post out, here is the secret. There is the screw. Here, let's get this out of here for a second. Okay, so you have the screw. You also have this sort of collar that the screw goes into. The trick is the collar has flat edges on it. So when those flat edges are inside the track, you can't turn it until you get to the opening, which then lets the flat edge turn around inside. So that's why these things will move up and down and then turn. It's tough doing it when there's no opposing force to it, but I'm going to try. There, see? So locks in, slides, turns. Isn't that funny how the autofocus moves like that? Okay, so anyways, there you go. See? Slide side to side, can't turn, gets to the hole, can turn. Now, if you could find a collar that works and doesn't have this square pin, but is just like another circle, then you could actually technically turn it around all you want. That's what's locking it in place. Now, you cannot use it with just the screw, unfortunately, because the opening is way too big and the screw, literally, this whole piece would just fly off all the time the minute you got out to the side. So I've tried it. It's really not practical. So don't do it. Just don't. All right. But now that we have it apart, you can see all the little ridged steps in here where the ball travels. you can see you typically get this worn in marking here, the circle where the rotation happens. The rotation happens. And you also get this side. Now we can see this one's pretty clean, but if you wanted to wipe it down, you could even put a little bit of lubricant on here if you wanted. I don't really mess with lubricant only because I don't know that much about it. But I know like, you know, pivot stuff for like knives and everything works well. Okay, so now we can see the balls kind of moving around inside here and they're clicking against the little edges. I don't know if you can hear that, but today is garbage day and the garbage truck is outside. Of course it is, because that's exactly when I decided to start recording. Okay, so again, when we are putting this back together, remember that the collar has to go in to the track. Okay, so when you find the hole and you line it up, you want to make sure that the collar is sitting properly inside the track on its edge like that, on its square edge, and then that's it. Now, do not over tighten it, because if you over tighten it, it's going to be really hard to slide this thing. And then you're going to have to open it up and do the whole thing all over again. So again, we can see the balls kind of bouncing along the little groove. Okay, I'm back. We just had to pause it for a second because the garbage truck was right in front of my house, which always makes amazing YouTube videos. So anyways, we're back. This has lined up. I've put the top plate back on, and now I am going to just put the screws in. Once you get one screw in, you're good. Whoa, don't do that though. Come on, Musketeer, you're embarrassing me. My God, stop embarrassing me. There we go. Okay, we got one. Get the other one in. Two. And we're back. Let me pop out. Okay, so that's it. That's kind of a breakdown. This thing is so smart the way it's built. It feels so good. It is a bit awkward doing that end turn, but once you kind of figure it out, once you get it like in the right spot in your hands, it's actually pretty quick. I tend to put one finger on here and I wedge this other piece in between my two fingers like this, so I have a good grip on it, so that when I turn it up, then I can just move everything out of the way. So, you know, we all have our own ways of fidgeting with these things, but I find as long as I'm actually locked into this middle part of my four fingers, like right in the middle, when I bring it up, it kind of sits like this, so it doesn't move. It doesn't like fall out of my hand. And then, you know, you just kind of get used to it. I find too, this position helps because you have to be in that perfect spot, right? You have to be right at the top of the slide before you can turn it. So I find holding it in here, having it in that spot, it helps kind of give me grip. And then after a while, you're just not thinking about it. You just sort of move it. Oh, should I try it the left? And then, yeah, sometimes you can actually turn and push up before you even, I don't know, you guys ever do that where one hand is better at one trick and then the other hand just pulls off something else and you're, pulls off. But the other hand just does something else that you didn't think you could actually do. Like, I'm right-handed, but I work with my mouse all the time, so I tend to fidget with my left hand. So I find sometimes my left hand gets trained better at fidgeting than my right. Yeah, with my right, it has to go all the way to the top before I can move it. But with the left, I can kind of just like circle. So anyways, yeah, that's enough about my weirdness. Deep fried dough sticks, do not be afraid of opening this thing up. It's really simple, and you can try different springs, stronger springs if you want, if you can find balls of that size, maybe try ceramic balls, try plastic balls. It'll probably change things up a bit. So that's it. This has been pretty long, probably way longer than it needs to be, but I know that this does concern some people when it comes to taking it apart. At some point I hope to get the new one and take that one apart to see what that does. I'm guessing the middle post is just different, which allows you to turn it whenever you want. It doesn't have those two sort of edges to it. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe I'll be lucky and I'll get one day. All right, that's it. Thanks, gang.